Hi, so this is your DCT or your data collection tool. Later on, people refer to this as the population data report once all the information is entered into it and it has been sent on to the sheltering lead, the state EOC, the doc, NSS resource, all kinds of other people. So it's very important this information is accurate. We want to first point out where we can find what DR this document is associated with. What are we associating this information to? So at the very top here, we have the document name, what it's been saved as. And this right in the document name, it says WADR 199-17. And that is your DR number and location. And we also see that on line 1. So we have DRO number, that's Disaster Relief Operation, 11917, Washington State. That tells us what WA is up here. We also have, in the title at the very top of the page, it says it's the midnight count for 1116. Now, when we look on line 3, we see this is 11 p.m., so we know it's going to be a midnight count. This was done on 11 p.m. on the day of 12/31/2015. Remember, if it's a midnight count, we are going to title it and enter it into NSS for the following date, because in 1 hour, when this information is starting to be used, it's going to be used on that date, the next day. So we know who collected this information because it says here who the lead was and who the service associates are. In these boxes here, we have, in the header, we have a previous count. That is the previous population totals for different types of shelters. And here we have ARC-M, ARC-P, and independent. And over here on the right-hand side, we can see that ARC-M is managed, ARC-P is partner, also used to be called supported, and then we have I, which is the independent. When we look at this column here, column E, it shows us that our total population for these shelters, for these types of shelters right now. So we have in column C, the previous count, in column E, the current count, and then column F shows us our current total open shelters that fall into those categories. So previous count and population are people, open is shelters. Now we don't ever type into these boxes because there are formulas in these boxes. So when I click on that box, you'll see there's a formula there. It is actually looking at column H10 through 163. That's column H, row 10 through 163. It's looking at column F, rows 10 through 163. It's looking at column G, row 10 through 163. So we want to make sure that we don't mess with anything in those boxes. When we scroll over just a little bit more in the header, we see there's a color key. Now this color key may be altered slightly. It may be brighter colors, different shades of colors. Some leads use different colors. This is the colors that I use. So pretty universal is yellow. We really don't want any of our shelters to be labeled with a yellow highlight. That means we could not reach them at all. We have failed at our job in some way. So we got to be real resourceful to be able to reach those shelters and make them green. We really want them green. But occasionally we'll call and they'll tell us, oh, this shelter has just closed. Okay, then we're going to make it red. That tells the doc and everybody else that that shelter has been closed. Now there's another thing we're going to do, and I'll talk about that later when we talk about data entry, and that's when we put in open, closed, or on standby or alert. If a shelter was recently placed on standby, we're going to mark it as purple. Maybe it was open and now it's on standby. They closed it, but it's kind of on standby. If anybody shows up, needs it, they'll open it back up. Sometimes we can only get information from the EOC, and some leads will leave this white. I'm a very color-oriented person, so I like to assign a color to it, knowing that it has gotten some sort of attention or I need to pay attention to it. So this is my light blue, is I'm getting information from the EOC. I either need to get it or I've gotten it. And orange is caution, right? So if there's been a problem, there's an issue, there's something serious, and I've put notes in there that need to be looked at by the higher ups, and this is like serious stuff, I'm going to put that in orange. So over here we have our, as we pointed out earlier, your ARC managed, your ARC partner supported, used to be called supported, and then the independent. Now, managed, you are absolutely 100% in a Red Cross shelter. There's Red Cross staff. It's run by the Red Cross. All the supplies come from the Red Cross. It is a Red Cross shelter. A partner shelter, maybe they're supplying the cots and the blankets, but they need, and they even have staff, but they need a Red Cross shelter manager to come in and show them how to do it the right way, make sure things are going right. Or maybe they have all the staff and everything, but they need our cots and blankets and things of that nature. That would be a supported or a partner shelter. Independent is completely independent. This could be the Salvation Army opens a shelter. Bob's church opens a shelter, and they say, we don't need any support. We've got everything we need. We have our cots, our blankets, we have all of our food. We have it all staffed, everything. We still need to report on that shelter because it is a part of the incident. So we're still going to be calling that shelter and getting information. And again, those shelters can be opened, closed, or on alert or standby. So that is all there is to the header portion, and that is this section here, this header section right here of your DCT. Thank you very much for learning all about the header of the DCT.